brought to you by Parts Canada and Drag Specialties. We support the sport. Metzler ME880 Marathon, what Bikertv rides on. The Dealey Motorcycle Exhibition, Vancouver, BC. Welcome to Bikertv, by bikers, for bikers. This week on Bikertv, Calgary with our friend Don from Universal Cycle. We're honored to ride in Alberta with the C.A.V. But first, we're back at the GPRC for Tech Tips with Wally.
Hi, welcome to Bikertv Tech Tips with Wally. This week I thought we would talk about putting our bikes into storage. What we want to do is there's some things that we should take care of before we put them away that will ensure that when spring comes around again and we bring them out and we start to get the itch to go for a ride, that they'll be in the best possible condition that they can be in. There's some things we can also have a look at that will tell us if maybe we should get it into a dealership and get a little bit of work done on it in the wintertime when things are a bit slow. They have some more time to do it. First off, let's think about our fuel tank. A full fuel tank will have less of a chance of having any corrosion appear in it than a fuel tank that's maybe empty or half full. What you want to do, because fuel nowadays doesn't last that long before it starts to go bad on us, and it can actually corrode our tank if it has some moisture in it. This particular stabilizer I have right here is a Harley-Davidson product, and it has a corrosion inhibitor in it. And what you want to do is you want to mix this up with your fuel, or a product that's like it. This particular one will treat about 4 gallons of fuel, so probably a little more than you'll have on your bike. Okay, we've changed our fluids. We've got fresh fluids in the motorcycle. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull our spark plugs out. And have a look at the spark plugs while you've got them out. If it looks like they're due for some new ones, this would be a good time to put them in, or have some on hand to put in when you take the bike back out of storage in the springtime again. But what we're going to do once we have the spark plugs out, we're going to take an oil can with just clean engine oil in there, and we're going to give it 3 or 4 squirts of engine oil down the spark plug holes. Now, while your spark plugs are still out, so we don't have a lot of compression taking place, we're going to turn the engine over, 3 or 4 revolutions so that the pistons and the rings can distribute that oil on your cylinder walls. What that's going to do, that's going to ensure that we don't have any corrosion taking place on the cylinder. Sometimes if the rings sit in one spot for a while, you can have some corrosion happening there, but if we put a little oil in there, we're not going to have to be too concerned about that. Once we've got our spark plugs back in, we'll move on the motorcycle. We'll have a look at our air cleaner, put it away with a nice clean or new air cleaner in there, so we don't have any problems with contaminants gumming up our air cleaner and sitting in there all winter. From the air cleaner, we're going to move back to the rear belt, and you want to really have a good close look at the belt at this time. Get your back wheel up in the air so you can turn the rear wheel over. Have a look at both the belt and your pulleys. Make sure that your pulleys have not been damaged by rocks or sand or dirt, that sort of thing. Watch that the coating is not coming off the pulleys. And have a real close look at your belt. Watch if you have any rocks in the belt. If you've got a small rock in the center of your belt, take the rock out. It's not always a reason to replace your belt if you've got a small little rock near the center of the belt, but pay particular attention to the outside edges of it. If you've got a tear or a rock on the outside edge of the belt, it might be a good time right now to take it into your local dealer through the winter time, get a new belt put on, have them have a good look at your pulleys to see if you need new pulleys. Get them to change it over the winter. That way when your bike comes out in the spring, it's all ready to go. There's nothing worse than, oh man, here's the nice warm day, but I got to get my bike in and get a new pulley, a new belt put on it. I got to get some work done on it. Get it done through the winter when not quite as busy as normal. It works better for both them and for you. While we've still got the battery in the bike, we want to make sure that all of our electrical components on the bike are working. So go through the whole system. You know, make sure that your brake lights are working, your tail lights are working, your high-low beams, basically all of your electrical components are in good working order. Give your horn a little blow, make sure it's working. That way you don't have to worry about it. Hopefully in the spring when you bring it out, everything is ready to go for you. And once you've got it all cleaned up and you're ready to tuck it away for the winter, if you plan on putting a cover over the motorcycle, there's a few things to be aware of there. You want to make sure that the cover that you're putting on the bike will actually breathe a little bit, so we don't have moisture building up, you know, on the motorcycle, which could lead to corrosion. Also, you want to make sure that it's going to have a nice soft surface on it, so you're not going to damage any of the paint or the finish of the bike. You know, this maybe isn't the time to go down to your local hardware store and buy a tarp to throw over your bike. It's an expensive motorcycle. Put a good cover over it.
After the break, welcome back to Biker TV and my friend Angel. We're going for a ride.
It's the #1 training facility for motorcycle mechanics in Canada. The course here is amazing. The teachers are amazing. This is where it's at.
Dragon Jeans, what Bikertv rides in.
Trucker Television, Canada's hottest new show.
My grandpa's a trucker. He helps beat kids like me.
Canada's hottest new show, Trucker Television.
Choose one of our existing audio kits or design your own at hogtunes.com. Hogtunes, audio solutions for the great American cruiser.
Why pay more? Check us out. Royal Distributing, Canada's power sports leader. We have parts, accessories, and lots more for all makes of cruisers, V-twin and metric. Canada's largest selection of helmets and clothing. Shop our website, shop by phone, or visit any one of our huge superstores. Why pay more? Check us out. Royal Distributing, Canada's power sports leader.
Special thanks to Royal Distributing, clothing, parts, and accessories. Toad Cycle Works, doing it right since 1979. G. Bork, give us a call. Trucker Television, celebrating life on the road. Advanced screen printing, t-shirts, and a whole lot more.
The Bikertv National Show and Shine. West, Sturgis North. East, Thunder in the Highlands. Central, the Bikers Reunion. The Bikertv National Show and Shine.
Closed captioning by Hogtunes, audio solutions for the great American cruiser.
We're a little shop. We were established 1984. We've grown to be one of the largest shops in Calgary. We're 6,000 square feet plus, and we're packed full of motorcycling. We are the Canadian supplier, distributor for Dragon Jeans Canada. We import them from Australia. They're the authentic Dragon Jeans, and they're very good product that is very comfortable, very soft, and allows you to have a little bit of, how would you say, road rash resistance, okay, in case you have to get off. Always had a little passion for bikes, and by the time I turned 16, one of the things I wanted to do was go racing, and the racing end of it kind of was the thing that set it off. So I got myself first bike, and lets me own a Kawasaki 750 triple. As they call it, the Widowmaker. I still have my first bike. As a matter of fact, I have most of the bikes. I have every bike that I've ever owned.
How many do you have?
We won't go there. Put it this way, we have quite a few, and a lot of them are nostalgic and vintage oriented. I collect the older bikes. I've also been drag racing for 34 years.
You're not the mysterious guy in Calgary with 80 bikes, are you?
I'm one of them. There is more than one, I can tell you that for certain.
What are you driving now?
I drive a Kawasaki Concourse is my daily driver. I also have a few period bikes. I have a ZRX 1100 and a Z1000, and quite a few of the older bikes which I much enjoy driving. Now, when we were kids, at 14 to 16, you could drive up to a 100cc motorcycle with what they call the Class 6M in Alberta. It was like a learner's permit, but you took a test on a bike. Most of the kids grew up with them. I could never afford one, and Mom wasn't going to buy me one. So by the time I turned 16, it was time to buy a car rather than a bike. So I never did get that one. I did get an example of exactly what I wanted, a G4 Kawasaki Trail Boss 100, got it about a year ago. It fell into my lap, and it's the bike I never had as a kid. So I like to refer to my bikes as my children. I'm not married, so back in 1977, I had bought a Montesa 348 Coda from European Motorcycles, and really liked enjoying driving the bike, etc. And I inadvertently sold it in 1982 in a weak moment, and I regretted it ever since. Wanted to find a facsimile and spent the next 25 years looking for the same kind of bike. Not exactly garden variety motorcycle to find a trials bike of that vintage, and a couple of Christmases ago, a friend of ours was here, one of the sales reps, Brian Marshall, and we were talking trials, and he had just gotten a ride from Scorpa and on a factory works bike. I mentioned that I used to have an old trials bike, and I'd sure like to find a bike. He asked me what I had. I said it was a Montesa 348 Coda, and he said, well, I got one sitting in my garage. So about a month later, he brings it down, and I take a look at the bike, and it's all there. It starts first kick, it runs real good. The original bike I bought for $1,800. I sold it for $1,200, and this one I bought back for $1,400, and I was pleased as punch that I finally found the facsimile. A little later on, I was looking at the bike and looking at it a little closer, and I noticed a decal on the tank that was partially there. It says European Motorcycles. So something twigged in me, and I read the serial number. I went home and dug through my old paperwork, and you could register the bikes for the street. And one of the things that I did was I had the old registration, read the serial number, and it turns out it's my old bike. I got it back 25 years later. So I was just, that is unbelievable that things, comes around, goes around, and it ended up back in my lap. So all my children have come home. Well, one of the specials, if you notice that there's an eyeball on the front of the bikes, that's kind of my trademark. The original eyeball bike is a Kawasaki 750 Triple Pro Gas bike. It spent a couple of years in the Reynolds Museum. It's been retired, but I had a friend who did the eyeball on the front of it in airbrush. And I liked it so much, I've had reproduced the eyeball, and it's appeared on every one of my bikes that I've been driven since then. So it's kind of the trademark. I'd like to invite everybody actually up to the CMDRA race sponsored by Parts Canada and Drag Specialties. So you'll see 6-second, 200-mile-an-hour nitro Harleys. You'll see the Pro modified bikes. They're running in the 6s at over 200 miles an hour, and everything down to just street bike class stuff. So come on out and have a lot of fun.
After the break, Chrome Dreams. Special thanks to Royal Distributing, clothing, parts, and accessories. Hip Cycle, expert Harley-Davidson service. Hog Haulers, don't leave home without your chrome. Creative Chaos Tattoo, not for the weak of heart. Dino Tunes, Motorcycle Tuning Center.
Trucker Television, Canada's hottest new show.
My grandpa's a trucker. He helps feed kids like me.
Canada's hottest new show, Trucker Television.
Advanced welding techniques, training for success. Come see our new virtual training lab at advancedwelding.ca.
Choose one of our existing audio kits or design your own at hogtunes.com. Hogtunes, audio solutions for the great American cruiser.
Special thanks to Royal Distributing, clothing, parts, and accessories. New Moon Tattoo, professional tattooing for over 25 years. The Ottawa Mission, more than a shelter. Chelsea Chimney Sweeps, sales, service, and installation. Road Dog Asphalt, honest, reliable service.
I provide a service of evaluating motorcycles for insurance purposes to put people in a position of protecting their investments. I think it's wise for people to get appraisals on their motorcycle because a lot of times the investment that they have incurred is not the same as the realistic fair market value of the machine in the event of a loss. We all spend a lot of money on our motorcycles. We take a great deal of pride in embellishing them and painting them and making them unique to ourselves, but a lot of the investment that we incur is because we want to and not necessarily because it's adding dollar for dollar value to the motorcycle. I guess the most tragic appraisal call that I made was it was a one of a kind custom-built motorcycle by a guy from Scotland, and he came to Canada with his motorcycle and several magazines where his motorcycle was featured in the center spread, and he was even named in a German magazine as the Arlen Ness of Scotland. He was coming back from a motorcycle festival in the interior of British Columbia, coming into Hope, and he was rear-ended by a pickup truck and thrown into the ditch. The motorcycle was significantly damaged, as was the rider, the builder of the motorcycle. First of all, that's really sad for me when I have to go and look at a smashed up motorcycle. But the reality of the matter was that this motorcycle was built back in the day, in the heyday, when motorcycles were retaining or gaining in value. This is in the late 90s, early 2000s. And the evaluation that I did on that motorcycle was for the Insurance Corporation of British Columbia. And when they received the final number, it was triple digits. And they were not impressed with the fact that I put that number on that motorcycle. But the comparative offerings that I had gleaned internationally, because this was an internationally built motorcycle, bore out the truth of what I was establishing with my numbers. And so it turned out that the owner of the motorcycle did get a significant check, and he moved to the interior, and he's since built up his own custom bike building shop in the interior. So it was a bad story that turned into a good story. There was a former military captain who had me do an appraisal on his motorcycle several years ago, and he experienced a total constructive loss. He crashed the bike. It was a single vehicle accident. He had his motorcycle insured for the face value of the appraisal plus taxes on top of that. And when it came time for him to satisfy or have his claim satisfied by the insurance company, they relied solely upon the document that I had provided, because it was a fully customized motorcycle.
After the break, we're honored to ride in Alberta with the C.A.V.
Why pay more? Check us out. Royal Distributing, Canada's power sports leader. We have parts, accessories, and lots more for all makes of cruisers, V-twin, and metric. Canada's largest selection of helmets and clothing. Shop our website, shop by phone, or visit any one of our huge superstores. Why pay more? Check us out. Royal Distributing, Canada's power sports leader.
Special thanks to Royal Distributing, clothing, parts, and accessories. Askicker Custom Cycles, parts, sales, service. McNeely and McNeely, legal services for accident victims. BCOM, fighting for bikers' rights. Chrome Dreams.
It's the #1 training facility for motorcycle mechanics in Canada. The course here is amazing. The teachers are amazing. This is where it's at.
Dragon Jeans, what Bikertv rides in.
Trucker Television, Canada's hottest new show.
My grandpa's a trucker. He helps feed kids like me.
Canada's hottest new show, Trucker Television.
Choose one of our existing audio kits or design your own at hogtunes.com. Hogtunes, audio solutions for the great American cruiser.
Special thanks to Royal Distributing, clothing, parts, and accessories. Hip Cycle, expert Harley-Davidson service. Hog Haulers, don't leave home without your chrome. Creative Chaos Tattoo, not for the weak of heart. Dino Tunes, motorcycle tuning center.
The Bikertv National Show and Shine. West, Sturgis North. East, Thunder in the Highlands. Central, the Bikers Reunion. The Bikertv National Show and Shine. Checking out some cool roads with the Bow Valley Harley Owners Group. what brings you out here today?
It's beautiful weather. We're going out for a ride out to the mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're with the Harley Owners Group?
I am, yeah.
And how long have you been there?
3 years now.
3 years?
Yeah, great group of people to ride with.
I guess we're going to go meet up with some C.A.V guys. Be a short hour and a half ride. Nice and easy. No sweat.
It's always so good to see a woman rider.
Yes, it is. It is. Yeah, I don't ride on the back.
Are we paid again? Individually and meant for this place. Do you wait again?
Our unit's a 40 member unit. We're part of the 3rd C.A.V formation. The C.A.V is divided up across the nation in 3 formations. We have 1st C.A.V in the Central Canada, 2nd C.A.V in the Maritimes, 3rd C.A.V in the Western provinces, and each formation...
What does C.A.V stand for the people who don't know?
Canadian Army Veterans, and we're motorcycle units.
The unit, it's all made up of military veterans and supporters. We are a motorcycle unit, not a motorcycle club. So what we do is we actually allow any type of motorcycle. We don't have one specific brand or model of motorcycle that everybody has to ride. And we just get together and support each other and support military charities as much as we possibly can with their rides. Yeah.
So what are some of the charities that...
We like to support mostly things like the Veterans Food Bank, the Wounded Warriors Fund, pretty much anything like that. The Military Family Resource Center here at the museum, we support them as much as we can.
And how long have you been a member?
I've been a member, this is my 4th year now.
How long has the unit been around?
The unit itself, the whole C.A.V unit is Canada-wide, and it's been around, I believe it's 7 or 8 years now.
How does it feel to be the only girl member?
Well,
in the unit?
Different. Feel think a lot sometimes, yeah, but I feel doing good, yeah.
How long have you been riding for?
Oh God, since I was 15 last year.
And how long have you been in the unit?
4 years.
4 years.
We're going to run out to Bragg Creek and down towards Millerville and then back into Calgary. Some nice twisties on the section of the road there, some nice scenery.
Are we paid again? Individually and meant for this place. Do you wait? Oh no. Are you looking for?
So we're all different chapters all across Canada.
Okay.
And mine's from Airdrie, Alberta, so just north of Calgary. And
we were there last night.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Good place. Yeah, that's where we're from.
And how long have you been riding?
Since I've been 4.5 years old.
Yeah.
So I've been riding for a while. Yeah.
And how long have you been in the unit?
The C.A.V, probably this is my 3rd year in the C.A.V. Yeah. So ex-veteran, actually a wounded warrior from the Bosnian War. So I was out there.
Meant for this place. Do you wait again?
Okay, well right now we're in Bragg Creek, Alberta. It's a small little hamlet. I don't know the population, but it's well below 1,000. And it's a pretty popular place for bikes, especially on a weekend. If you get here on a weekend, you'll probably find anywhere from 100 to 200 bikes in this parking lot on a Saturday or Sunday. Yeah. So it's a nice area. It's a good afternoon ride for guys.
It's beautiful. You can see the mountains all over.
Yeah, it's very scenic and everything else like that. So, yeah, it's good.
And when you sleep at night, do you cling to what is fake?
I'm one of the founding guys for the West Coast guys. Way back 7 years ago. A bunch of us veterans wanted to ride together, and a bunch of us tried out to get the C.A.V here, and here we are today, 7 years later. Everybody's from the Army, Navy, Air Force. We're all from all over Canada. We live here now, and we all just get together. In a lot of cases, we don't even know each other initially.
I think it's meeting the people involved and all the organized events.
We get together for camaraderie and good times, and talk about the old days, go for rides.
What a great ride. Special thanks to Mick at Kane's Harley Davidson. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week on Biker TV.
Next week on Biker TV, tech tips with Wally and more of the best of Canadian motorcycling. Bikes, babes, and rock and roll. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you down the road on Biker TV. Be on Biker TV. Cape Breton Bike Fest, Sydney, Nova Scotia. At Sturgis North. The Bikers Reunion, New Liskeard, Ontario.
We should have met years ago when we were younger. Live life from a storybook to fill virtue's hunger. Running wild and living free, riding high on that carousel. So my love could grow for you by the sea at C.A.V.